Every relationship thrives when passion is nurtured and connection is kept alive. Too often, couples fall into routines that strip away excitement, but physical closeness is one of the most powerful ways to rebuild energy, strengthen bonds, and keep love fresh. The way we touch, the way we hold each other, and the positions we choose during sex can completely transform how loved and desired we feel. Romantic positions aren't just about pleasure. They are about eye contact, body contact, and the ability to feel every movement together. When partners choose positions that allow them to press close, wrap around one another, and linger in each other's arms, the sexual experience becomes more than release. It becomes an act of unity. For example, positions where you're facing one another create intensity because every kiss, every moan, and every breath is shared. Holding tight during deep strokes lets both partners feel connected, not only physically, but emotionally. When one partner feels safe and cherished in that closeness, they open up more freely, which leads to stronger trust and more explosive passion. Positions that encourage wrapping legs, holding faces, or whispering during thrusts let couples go beyond the physical act and actually communicate during sex. This turns the bed into a place of honesty and expression. You're not just having sex, you're reinforcing the fact that you belong to each other in body and heart. Even more playful variations can still carry the same effect. Trying something new while keeping full body contact adds adventure without sacrificing closeness. These moments keep the relationship alive because they remind both partners that passion is something to be explored, not rushed through. If you truly want to keep your relationship strong, pay attention to the positions you choose. Don't rush, don't disconnect. Instead, choose the ones that let you hold on, breathe together, and lose yourselves in the rhythm of each other's bodies. Tonight, when you're with your partner, slow down and try one of these romantic positions that pull you closer. Let your body say what words cannot build passion, not by doing more, but by feeling deeper. Your relationship deserves that level of closeness. When two people choose face-to-face positions during sex, something powerful happens that goes beyond simple pleasure. The body language alone tells a story. Being chest to chest keeps both partners in a position where no movement is hidden and every reaction is visible. Eye contact intensifies arousal because the eyes don't just watch, they communicate desire, need, and approval in real time. This kind of closeness forces both partners to be present with each other, not distracted, not distant, but fully engaged in the act. The rhythm of the hips, the brush of lips, and the sound of breath all blend into a moment where two people are locked together completely. In face-to-face sex, the closeness allows small details to take on much more weight. The heat of skin pressed together, the feeling of a heartbeat racing against your chest, and the wetness shared between bodies all become part of the intensity. Because you are aligned so closely, every thrust carries more than just physical stimulation. It also carries emotional energy, a reminder that you're not just being touched, but being seen and desired. When couples kiss while moving in sync, it makes the orgasm build slower, heavier, and with more anticipation. Even the way tongues move against each other can add to the deepening arousal, keeping both partners tuned into one another's needs. The physical benefits of this kind of position are just as strong. The penetration is deeper because the bodies are aligned directly and both partners can adjust angles to find the perfect rhythm. The closeness of thighs and hips means more pressure on sensitive areas, which makes the pleasure sharper and more controlled. For women, it often means more clitoral contact during thrusting. For men, the tightness feels heightened because the partner is pulling him deeper with each movement. This balance of control and surrender creates an erotic tension that builds passion naturally without needing to rush. The position itself encourages longer sessions, since couples are not just chasing orgasm, but savoring every second. Another reason face-to-face positions matter is the freedom it gives for constant communication during sex. You can whisper, moan, or talk dirty without losing the rhythm. Every sound is heard clearly, every reaction is noticed instantly, and that makes the sex more connected. The ability to kiss at any moment keeps the emotional spark alive while the body is reaching higher levels of arousal. Small caresses on the back, gripping shoulders, or stroking hair become part of the act, and these touches build anticipation as much as the thrusting itself. This is why face-to-face sex isn't just a position, it's a language of closeness spoken through the body. When sex involves full body contact, the arousal deepens in a way that cannot be matched by positions where distance exists between partners. Skin to skin contact heightens sensitivity, making even the smallest movements feel more intense. The chest pressed firmly against the chest, legs entangled, and arms holding tight amplify the sense of belonging and closeness. This constant pressure allows partners to feel each other's warmth, curves, and tension as the bodies move together. The more points of contact, the more the nervous system is stimulated, which means the arousal is spread through the entire body instead of being limited to one area. This makes the experience richer, fuller, and harder to pull away from. In these moments, pleasure is not only about penetration, but about being wrapped up in each other fully. When thighs press together and hips grind with no space in between, it creates a rhythm that is both physical and emotional. The body feels held and surrounded, not just entered, and that adds layers of comfort and excitement. The smell of skin, the taste of sweat, and the vibration of a partner's moan against your neck turn into fuel for desire. The brain processes these sensations as reassurance and passion at the same time, making the arousal sharper and the bond stronger. Sex becomes more than release, it becomes the act of melting into one another. Another key element of full body contact is the way it intensifies pressure and friction. When the entire body is aligned, every thrust is deeper, every grind tighter, and the stimulation spreads across multiple sensitive areas at once. For women, the closeness often means better clitoral stimulation combined with penetration, creating stronger orgasms. For men, the grip of the partner's body pulling in tightly makes the sensation feel more powerful and consuming. This dual stimulation keeps both partners in sync, building intensity until the climax feels unavoidable. Because the bodies are locked so close, there is no way to pull away from the heat, and that kind of surrender feeds the desire to keep going longer. Full body sex also creates opportunities for subtle but powerful touches that fuel arousal further. The feeling of hands stroking down a back, nails dragging lightly across skin, or lips kissing along the jaw all blend with the thrust to heighten pleasure. Even the natural weight of one body pressing against another brings a sense of grounding and raw passion. These details are magnified when nothing is separating the two, when every breath and movement is absorbed directly into the other's body. It is in these moments of full contact that partners often find themselves losing control, because the intensity is not just in one place but flowing across every inch of skin that is pressed together. When couples slow down their movements during sex, the intensity grows in ways that fast thrusting cannot create. The body becomes more sensitive to pressure and friction when strokes are deliberate, and every nerve has time to process the sensation. Slow penetration allows both partners to feel the stretch, the warmth, and the full depth of each movement instead of rushing past it. The anticipation of the next thrust builds tension in the muscles and keeps the mind locked into the moment. This style of sex isn't about finishing quickly, but about savoring the process, letting every second add more fuel to the fire. The slower the rhythm, the more explosive the release becomes when it finally happens. Slow strokes also encourage more communication between partners. When the pace is unhurried, there's time for eye contact, for whispered words, and for the gentle touches that might be missed during faster sex. The pressure of a hand against the hip, the way fingers dig into the back, or the soft stroke of lips against the shoulder all become magnified. Each movement carries weight because nothing is rushed. The partner feels not just entered but cherished, as if each thrust is a conscious decision to connect deeper. This attention makes the orgasm more emotional as well as physical, blending pleasure with a sense of being fully desired. Another benefit of slowing down is the way it heightens arousal gradually. The body can only take so much stimulation at once, and a fast rhythm often brings climax too quickly. Slow strokes let the arousal climb higher and higher without reaching the peak too soon. Muscles tense, breathing quickens, and the body aches for more with every pause. This tension becomes unbearable in the best way, making the eventual orgasm stronger and more satisfying. Both partners are given the chance to edge closer, pull back slightly, and then rise again, creating waves of pleasure instead of one quick burst. It's a method that trains the body to feel more with less movement. The physical sensation of slow thrusting also hits differently because it allows the body to adjust and absorb every detail. The partner on the receiving end feels the thickness, the pressure, and the stretch with more clarity. For the one penetrating, the tightness feels exaggerated when strokes are controlled and deep. Even the way the bed moves, the sound of breathing, and the heat of skin rubbing together take on more meaning when time is taken. Each second becomes erotic because it stretches out the anticipation and forces both partners to stay completely in the moment. When a partner wraps their legs around the other during sex, it transforms the experience instantly. That grip isn't just about holding on, it's about control and closeness. The act of pulling someone in tighter makes penetration feel deeper and more consuming. For the one being held, the pressure of thighs locking around the waist or back creates a sense of urgency, as if they're being demanded to go harder, go deeper, and stay closer. It adds a raw physical intensity that makes every thrust sharper and more intentional. The position becomes more than just sex, it becomes a way of claiming each other completely. The physical advantage of leg wrapping is in how it changes angles and depth. By pulling a partner in, the hips tilt slightly, which often leads to more direct contact with sensitive areas. For women, this can mean the angle presses against the G-spot with greater precision, while also keeping the clitoris in range for added stimulation. For men, the sensation of being locked in so tightly makes the grip feel stronger and the friction more overwhelming. The body responds to this closeness with a heightened sense of arousal, as if the intensity has been turned up on every stroke. It's a technique that blends pleasure with control in a way that keeps both partners deeply engaged. Beyond the physical mechanics, the act of wrapping legs carries powerful psychological signals. It tells the partner, "Don't pull away, stay inside me. I want you here." That demand for closeness fuels arousal because it shows desire openly and without hesitation. Being held in place during sex creates a sense of surrender and dominance happening at the same time. One partner is gripping tightly, guiding the rhythm, while the other is giving into that pull and responding with more force. This dynamic pushes the connection into a more primal, passionate territory where both bodies are locked in and refusing to let go. The intensity also builds because this position keeps bodies closer from multiple points of contact. The thighs grip, the arms pull, and the chest press tighter together, creating a layered experience of closeness. The friction against the skin, the squeeze of muscles, and the heat between thighs all add to the sensation. Even subtle movements become amplified when the body is being held so firmly. Each thrust sends a ripple of pleasure that feels magnified by the restraint. That closeness doesn't just increase physical stimulation, it heightens desire to a point where the orgasm becomes not just release but complete surrender to the moment. When sex happens in positions that keep faces closed, the ability to whisper and touch becomes one of the most powerful tools for arousal. Words spoken in the heat of the moment carry more weight than any touch because they reach the mind and body at once. A moan, a dirty phrase, or even just saying a partner's name can push desire to a higher level instantly. The sound of a voice vibrating against the ear blends with the rhythm of thrusts, creating a mix of mental and physical stimulation. Touching the face, brushing lips, or stroking hair in that moment intensifies the closeness. These small actions keep partners connected beyond the mechanics of movement, fueling passion with intimacy that feels raw and direct. The ability to kiss deeply while thrusting is another reason this closeness matters. A kiss is not just an addition to sex, it's a form of communication that reveals hunger, rhythm, and control. When lips meet during penetration, the orgasms that follow often feel more intense because the body interprets the kiss as another layer of stimulation. Biting softly on a lip, letting tongues explore, or pulling back just enough to look into each other's eyes adds anticipation with every move. It becomes impossible to separate the kiss from the thrust because they blend into one constant stream of arousal. The act feels like full surrender to the moment both mentally and physically. Touch during sex also carries weight when faces are close enough to reach. A hand sliding along the jaw, fingers brushing lips, or gripping the back of the neck can make the act feel primal and emotional at the same time. These touches remind the partner that they're not only being penetrated but also adored and desired. The skin is filled with sensitive nerves, and when those areas are caressed in sync with penetration, the stimulation multiplies. A gentle stroke can feel tender while a firm grip can feel commanding, and the mix of both adds variety to the rhythm. This variety keeps the body guessing, heightening sensitivity in every part of the encounter. The sounds exchanged in this closeness matter just as much as the touches. Hearing a partner's breath, feeling their moans against the lips, or catching a whisper that commands faster or slower movement all intensify the experience. It becomes more than sex. It becomes a conversation through sound and sensation. Each word or gasp blends with the physical act, guiding the rhythm without breaking it. The closeness ensures that nothing is missed, no reaction goes unnoticed, and every detail fuels the drive toward climax. This combination of words, sounds, and touches keeps the energy alive, making the passion grow stronger with every second. Trying playful variations during sex keeps the fire alive without sacrificing closeness, and that balance is what keeps couples craving each other. When two people experiment with different angles or positions while still holding on, the experience stays exciting but also deeply connected. For example, shifting hips slightly or changing leg placement can completely alter the sensation while keeping faces close enough to kiss. This type of play doesn't feel distant, it feels adventurous, as if both partners are exploring each other's bodies in new ways. The thrill comes not only from the change itself, but from the shared discovery, reminding both that sex is not routine but alive with possibilities. Playfulness during sex also reduces the pressure of performance. When couples know they can adjust positions, laugh at awkward moments, or try something new without losing intimacy, it builds confidence. This freedom creates more openness because both partners understand they are in it together, experimenting rather than trying to be perfect. A small change like turning slightly to the side or pulling a leg higher can unlock sensations that feel fresh and unexpected. That surprise adds to the excitement, while the closeness of bodies ensures the emotional bond remains strong. It is in these playful adjustments that passion often spikes the highest because the act becomes both fun and deeply erotic. These variations also give couples more control over stimulation. A shift in rhythm or a new angle can increase pressure on sensitive areas, making orgasms easier to reach or more intense to experience. For women, it may mean stronger clitoral contact during penetration, while for men, it can create a tighter, more consuming grip. Both partners feel the difference instantly, and that awareness adds to the thrill. The key is that the changes happen while bodies are still pressed close, so the raw connection is never lost. It's a way of adding spice without creating distance, of enhancing sensation without breaking the bond. Experimenting also fuels curiosity and keeps desire fresh over time. When couples know there are endless ways to stay close while still trying something new, the sex never feels repetitive. Even small shifts create enough variety to keep both partners on edge, waiting for what comes next. The body responds differently to each variation, which means new pathways of pleasure are constantly being unlocked. This cycle of curiosity and discovery turns sex into an ongoing exploration rather than a predictable act. And because the foundation remains closeness, every playful experiment strengthens both the physical passion and the emotional attachment at once.